All right, well, hello and welcome to the CSU System-Wide CSUBUY Procure to Pay, or P2P, demo series. We're excited to have you join us as we continue preparing for the rollout of CSUBUY P2P across all CSU campuses. CSUBUY P2P is a comprehensive system-wide solution designed to streamline and standardize the full procure-to-pay process. This powerful tool brings together multiple functions under one platform, including supplier self-registration and access to a system-wide shared supplier database, requisition entry and purchase order issuance, receipt tracking and payment processing, and a centralized location for routing and collecting all necessary financial and compliance approvers. By integrating these capabilities, CSUBUY P2P supports greater efficiency, transparency, and consistency in our procurement and payment activities across the CSU system. Today's session is a peek behind the curtain at various parts of this new system. Please keep in mind that this is not a training session. These demos are for general exposure only. Formal hands-on training will be provided closer to your campus's go-live date. Each demo will be recorded and the recordings will be available on your campus's CSUBUY P2P website for those unable to attend live. The chat feature will remain on throughout today's session, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible. At the end of the demo, we'll also share the name and contact information for your campus lead, so you will know who to reach out to with questions or follow-up needs. Once again, thank you for being here, and let's get started. Here's what we'll cover in today's session. We'll start with a brief introduction into CSUBUY, then review the overall project timeline and current status. We'll provide some context for compliance approvers in the new P2P system, and then move into the demo itself. To support the Chancellor's Office core team with the P2P implementation, the non-live campuses have been organized into regional groups, with each group assigned a strategic advisor. The strategic advisors are Carrie Schmidt, Nicole Lack, Sarah Rumiano, and myself, Tawny Fleming. Each of us brings extensive experience and expertise in the procure-to-pay processes, and we are here to help guide and support campuses throughout their implementation journey. Note the live campuses are shown with the green dots. The first two campuses successfully went live in P2P in October 2023, marking a major milestone in this system-wide transformation. Since then, two additional waves had continued the momentum, bringing more campuses into the platform. With the introduction of the Chancellor's Multi-University Collaboration Initiative, the timeline for full implementation has been accelerated. As a result, the remaining campuses are now scheduled to go live by early 2026, ensuring that the entire CSU system benefits from a unified, modern procure-to-pay solution.
Before we dive into functionality, let's take a moment to review the vision and goals of CSUBUY P2P. Understanding the why helps us better understand the design and decisions that have shaped this project. Our vision for CSUBUY P2P is to standardize procurement processes across the CSU, reduce manual steps, and drive efficiencies through automation. Ultimately, this means saving time, reducing risk, and lowering costs. The objective of P2P are centered around creating a streamlined, integrated platform that simplifies and enhances how we manage procurement and payments across the CSU system. This graphic on this slide visually represents the entire procure-to-pay lifecycle and the key functions that P2P supports. Starting with shopping for goods and services, users can engage in purchasing with access to preferred, contracted, and sustainable suppliers. This flows into requisitioning, ordering, and receiving, all of which are handled in a centralized environment with fewer manual steps. The process concludes with invoicing and payment, emphasizing automation, minimal touch points, and visibility throughout. What's important to understand is that P2P will replace many of the fragmented campus-specific tools and manual workflows currently in use. It consolidates supplier management, including supplier self-registration and a shared system-wide supplier database, requisition creation, purchase order, PO, insurance, receipts, and invoice processing all into one cohesive system. While P2P will integrate with PeopleSoft CFS, allowing for necessary financial synchronization, the day-to-day work will take place within the P2P platform. For example, users will initiate and approve requisitions, manage POs, and review receipts and invoices all within P2P. The platform offers a range of valuable benefits. For suppliers, it ensures timely payments and provides convenient self-service tools to track invoice and payment status. For internal users, it streamlines the purchasing experience and automatically routes requisitions and purchase orders to include all necessary financial and compliance approvals. The new P2P platform will replace the current CSUBUY marketplace that requires a P card to complete transactions. So it will also reduce the amount of monthly transactions that will need to be reconciled. As a system-wide level, the platform enhances data quality, increases visibility across campuses, and supports our ongoing commitment to operational efficiency, accountability, and strategic improvement.
This slide shows our high-level timeline. The 14 campuses that are part of this acceleration project are currently in the implementation phase, with readiness and deployment activities scheduled through early 2026. This slide shows the options for requisition workflow in the CSUBUY P2P, from submitting a request to creating the purchase order. The process includes key reviews for fiscal approval, compliance checks like IT, facilities, and branding and logo, and finally, procurement authorization. Each step is triggered based on the details of the requisition, helping ensure accuracy, policy alignment, and accountability before any purchase is finalized. This slide shows how requisitions flow through the branding and logo compliance review process. It gets triggered whenever somebody answers yes on a goods and services or hospitality form that involves a logo or branding element. At that point, the request is routed to an approver, usually someone in communications. Their role is to check that the proposed use of the logo or brand complies with the university guidelines before approving it.
Please keep in mind that this demo is being shown in the current test site with the campus-specific configuration. You may see functionality that is still pending the P2P core team's review and campus user acceptance testing, so your specific campus final configuration is subject to change. Now we're going to shift into the branding and logo portion of today's session. This will lay the foundation for understanding what you'll see in the demo. Christian, please introduce yourself and get us started.
Hello, my name is Christian Burke. I'm the creative director at Chico State in the University of Communications. We roll up to university advancement and work with the Office of the President. But we do serve the entire campus. We provide a range of graphic design, web design, digital space services across campus. And we have been working with our procurement team to manage the brand standards and kind of be the reviewers across several different platforms, but the CSUBUY being one of the main ones. So there is myself, and then there's another person in our office here that are designated as approvers with CSUBUY, and that overlap is obviously, if we're out, we're sick, we have somebody else who can jump in and provide the approval or give feedback to help the process along. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see if I can find it here. There we go. There we go. Okay, can everybody see that screen okay?
Yep.
So as Tanya and Carrie mentioned, the notification chain happens by email for us, comes right into our Outlook inbox, and it gives us a link out to log into the system. We are both notified, both of the approvers in our department are notified at the same time, and so we kind of Rochambeau for whoever wants to take it. But it's great because everything is captured within this one kind of portal. And this example that I have in front of you is a great example because it involves several different pieces. But this particular review, I'm going to start here with the comments. This was a piece, a mail piece that was designed by our agency and for admissions and enrollment. So this is a mail out to prospective students. And so within the portal, as you can see there, you can comment directly through the requisition. And you can see that our Director of Communications had approved this to move forward. And then we got some notes about the vendor and about the order. And then Jeff, who was my cohort here, was giving input through the ticket here to be able to give some direction on back to the client. For us as reviewers, the biggest thing is in this attachments tab. And I will say that this has been one of the biggest things for a teaching opportunity for everybody who's using the CSUBUY. So I would communicate to you all as both users and reviewers. It's very important to attach proofs of artwork from the vendor, and also obviously invoice estimates. Any documentation that needs to go with the order is going to speed things up. Oftentimes, because I'm the approver, the designer, and the approver of a lot of artwork on campus, oftentimes I will approve artwork by email and then include that attachment. Then it goes back around here to CSUBUY, and sometimes only a screen capture of the email and not the artwork gets attached. And so just remembering to save those attachments and upload those into the ticket. So in this case, there are 3 attachments in this particular request. And so I'm able to see the estimate from the vendor. And this is a vendor that we know well. It's a local vendor. And so that helps a lot. The biggest thing for me as approver of both the brand standards and the production is that I can see and compare against the artwork how this is being produced. And so I can make sure that the artwork proofs that I'm seeing are in fact set up properly for what's been ordered. And so you can see here that it basically goes down the list of the work order here. And so that's not always, I'm not necessarily reviewing that for approval, but it's nice to be able to see it in context with the artwork and the order, so I can make sure that everything is correct there, because sometimes vendors will take artwork and apply it in different ways, use it, wouldn't be correctly set up. So in this case, there are 2 pieces of artwork here that were reviewed. So this is a poster that's printed, folded, and inserted with this kit that's being mailed out to prospective students. And again, this was designed by our agency. And so this is artwork that we know is approved. And it's very easy to very quickly give this a yes. So I can review that very quickly. The second piece is the envelope for the mailing. And that's a 9x12 booklet envelope. It's something that we're already familiar with, but this follows brand standards. It uses approved logos, colors, typography. So again, this is one that, we can actually make sure that they've got the right return address on there very quickly. In addition to looking to make sure that the artwork is correct. And in this case, it is. So we were able to
Christian,
approve all these. Yeah.
are you sharing or wanting to share what the attachments look like?
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
So I'm going to, let's see.
You might just be sharing the web page and not the
There we go.
screen.
Is everybody able to see that?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, the pop-ups Either share separately.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the poster that I was talking about. And again, this is artwork that we know has already been approved. It's artwork that I'm familiar with. And so it's using the correct logo, typography, etc. So that one we're able to do there. Oops, sorry. Let's get back in here. Okay. And then I'll just pop up the envelope here. See if everyone's able to see that. Sorry about that. A little.
You're good.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll just move on. But either way, both of the pieces of artwork in this particular order were following brand standards, and they were able to be approved. And we were able to move that down on the line to keep it moving. So that's how we interact with the branding and logo approvals.
Do you mind sharing your screen one more time so I can just walk people through
Sure.
a couple different ways? Like when you get in, how do you normally get into the system?
Yeah.
Do you go from
So
the email?
let's see. Are you able to see that screen now?
Yeah.
Yes. So we get an email directly into our inbox with every submission, and it notifies you, and it will re-notify you if you don't click into it. So it is persistent that way, which is good because oftentimes people's inboxes get really crammed. So it's nice to get the reminder sometimes. But yes, so essentially we get an email. It is very clearly marked. It says there is a requisition waiting for your approval. There is a link out, which takes you basically just to in our case, it takes us to the main login page. And then we have to kind of click in, choose our campus, and then it gets us into the portal. And essentially this is what happens after that. I also, in
So
the upper,
that little flag.
yeah, so basically for new requisitions, these kind of utility menu up here in the right-hand corner is very important because oftentimes it can be easy if you've got multiple requisitions to maybe get a little bit lost. And so I find that's very helpful is that this item here, which is action items, if you click that, right now, we don't have any active requisitions that need our approval, but if there were, they would all be listed under this action items menu. Clickable, very easy to go through and see what's there. You also have your notifications menu here, which is the bell icon. And essentially, these are dated, just showing the notifications that you've received. And sometimes it can be easy to click directly into a requisition through this menu here.
So whoever the compliance approvers are on this call, you will receive an email and you can get into the system through that email. You could go in however your campus is set up to access P2P. You'll be able to go in that way. And I think maybe we're not seeing the full left-hand side of your screen, but there's like a home over on the other. Yeah, so if you go to
Yes.
home, the little home button,
Yep.
this is the home screen, and if he had approvals, you can see the approvals box. They'd be showing up in that approvals box, or you can access it through the flag. So there's all different ways that you can get to where you need to go, and you'll be defaulted in with all of these notifications set up as a default. You'll be getting the email, you'll be getting the flag notifications. And as you get more comfortable with the tool, you can override the defaulted notifications if you want, and you can say, okay, I don't want to receive any emails, or I don't want to, there's a lot of variety. So just something to consider. And the other thing I wanted to mention was this is not going to be, the intention of this is to route to you all as an approval stop, but it's not built out to have every single spec that you would need in every single situation. It's more of like, oh, this one is flagged. Somebody's trying to purchase something that has our logo. It's going to stop with you all. You can work through the comments and attachments with that department end user. And then when you feel like you're in a good space, then you can approve it or you can reject it. So just a few things I wanted to mention there, but let's go ahead and open it up for any.
Yeah, we have a couple questions in chat, Tawny.
Okay.
So the first relates to attachments, whether or not they're pop-up, or is it something that you can just view in the actual application, or are you required to download them? So would you mind going back to the attachments and showing that? Because I believe you can click them and then they open.
Yeah, they do open in a pop-up on my desktop. They do. I have not, to be honest, I've not used it on mobile on my phone. But in this attachments tab, you can download it if you click the download arrow. And I don't do that. I just archive everything in the system itself. It's just cleaner that way for me. So you can download it, or because they are these PDFs, you can download that, share them. But if you click it open like this, it is a pop-up window for you to see the artwork, and it does have some commentary tools and other things right there in the window.
Thank you. So it allows
Yeah.
for flexibility for either, whether they choose to download it and keep it or on their local drive, or they can just utilize the application itself, because these documents cannot be deleted. They like to say there's no secrets in CSUBUY, so it will maintain in here that
Yes.
concern.
Yeah, all comments and all attachments are just archived. It's great. It's a great kind of aggregates everything together.
We do have another question for you. If you're overseeing all the marketing materials being produced by the university, or just the units that you work through for your approvals in the system?
We have been tasked with the president's office and with cabinet to attempt to manage brand standards. We are the producers of a lot of the materials, but we're a big campus, and as many of you experience, we have a lot of different units that have content creators and produce a lot of different things, contract with different vendors for different things. We are working really hard to build the relationships across campus with communicators in different colleges, with deans, so that one, we get adoption of this system, CSUBUY, but also we build that relationship of the sending things to us to review. So we are reviewing a lot of items that don't fall directly into CSUBUY right now. But yes, so we are tasked with managing the brand standard across the entire campus.
Thank you. Another question, do you review the actual form itself and comments, or just use comments and attachments, or do you evaluate what the summary requisition is for the purchasing?
A little bit of everything there, because we do take the opportunity, even though this particular stop in the chain is purely for branding and logo review, we do like to just have that extra set of eyes and ears and brains on the orders as they go through. It helps minimize mistakes or delays or anything like that. So as far as comments go, I find commenting directly through in the comments tab has been most effective for me. If you sometimes, folks are out of office or working from home or something, and maybe they don't necessarily see that. So there are times when you do have to reach out separately by email or pick up the phone, or even walk into their office if they're close, just to keep things moving along. Very often these things are approved first time through, and it's a very smooth process. Every once in a while, something will come up either in the order itself, like if I'm looking at the estimate, as I mentioned before, and I see something doesn't quite seem right, like maybe it's an embroidery order for polo shirts, and maybe the artwork that they sent is a PNG or a file that maybe they shouldn't be sending. We can kind of step in and help work directly with the vendor, because you can communicate directly with the vendor here too, and the client, just to make sure they've got the right artwork and that everybody's aligned there with what they're wanting to do. So it's a little bit of all the things. There's a lot of tools within CSUBUY that you can use for that purpose.
Thank you. Maybe Tawny, would you want to take the lead on the next one?
Sure.
Are the approvals and/or stops, rejections all in the DOA approval chain, or is there some additional approval stops and it by attachments, perhaps just comments? Maybe speaking again to the overall workflow.
Yeah, actually, Christian, if you could share one more time.
Sorry.
The screen you were on was perfect.
Okay.
This is, you all are the compliance. I mean, you're not because you're in procurement, but this for the compliance people on here. So the people that are in the marketing, usually that are approving the branding and logo for this demo that we're showing today. It is completely separate from the fiscal authority. So whoever has the delegated fiscal authority, that's been already reviewed and approved by the time it gets to you. So as you can see on the right-hand side here, there's like the workflow steps. You can see when something was submitted and who it was submitted by. It then goes, I mean, it goes through some automated steps, but then it goes through the DOA approval. So that was done. And then it goes to branding and logo. And because this was on a form, it also goes to procurement. So you can see where things are, how long it's been sitting with somebody. That's the great thing about this is end users don't have to keep following up on anything. They can just go in and look and see where their requisition is in the process. If this hadn't been approved yet, like for example, under procurement review, it would be bright blue, and you can click on the bright blue procurement review and it will drop down and show you who is available to approve for that step. So it's pretty transparent in that way. So let me know if I did not answer your question, Yuri, but compliance approval is completely different than the fiscal authority approval.
And we did get a question similar, like whether or not you have just one approval and then it creates a bottleneck. Or Christian, if you have a lot of people that stop within that workflow and then you guys just assign it to yourself internally of who's processing what.
Yeah, if I'm understanding that right. So we do, like I said, we have two dedicated approvers in our office, so we have some overlap. So it can be either or. Either one of us can jump in and approve it, or we can mitigate, remedy anything that's in there because we have access. Our comms director, Ashley, she also being at admin level has access to the system to intervene if needed. Which again just helps resolving things more quickly inside the tool itself. But yeah, we typically try not to be the bottleneck. We try to move things through as quickly as possible and resolve it within the comments section when we can.
If for some reason your campus doesn't have the resources to have multiple people in this step, if you are the main and only approver, if you're going to be gone or out of town, you can assign your approvals to somebody else so things don't stop if you're not in the office, if you have that resource. But yeah, ideally, it's nice to have a couple people in the folder or in the workflow. Did we answer Yuri's other question about the accepted formats? So can it accept something besides PDF? Yes, I believe it can. It can do
Yes.
Pictures and things like that.
We get screen grabs, which are PNGs, JPEGs. I would imagine that there are only a very few things that it wouldn't accept as an attachment. So
I want to say there is a limit to attachments of like maybe 10 megabytes. So if you run into that, you may have to get creative, but that is, I would say, the exception, not the norm. Let's see, I want to make sure I'm not skipping one. Okay, we did.
No, we have one that's next is
Okay,
asking for how do you show archived approvals? Like, so I'm assuming
Yeah,
that's
so I
previous.
mean, you could go into if you hover over your shopping cart on the left, over to the far left. Is it this under? No, go down one.
yeah, so
Go down to
requisitions.
approvals. Over a little bit, yeah, right there. And then you go to requisitions approved by me, recently approved by me.
Yep.
That's one way you can do that. The reportability in P2P, I will say, is way better than CFS. So you can go in to see all requisitions or all POs, which are the approved requisitions. You can run reports. Anybody can run reports on any of it. So future demo maybe on reporting, but yes, there's a lot of flexibility there.
Kim Ball's the next question. Tawny, for campuses that have licensing requirements for products such as polos, totes, mugs, etc., how are you ensuring that the vendor is a licensed vendor for the university marks?
Yeah, so that's what this role is supposed to do. So it stops with you and you make that determination or redirect. I mean, you may have to reject it and say, no, you need to be working with X supplier instead. So yeah, that's kind of what this stop is meant to do.
Yeah, and if I can just jump in there too, because Chico State is, we do have a separate CLC Learfield branding 360 brand manager portal, which is separate. And so a lot of our bookstore items and licensed apparel and things run through that that particular portal. And we're not connected completely yet through CSUBUY, but I think the goal is to do that. But yeah, part of that is because our department handles both of those things. That's one of the reasons that we were pulled in here, so that we have insight into all those things, even if it's I can go and refer back to those vendors and make sure that they are an approved vendor.
Okay, the last question on here for now, and then we can open it up also if people want to ask, is through your experience, how many submissions required significant amount of revisions on the artwork? Is the artwork that's submitted into this system fairly finalized and vetted prior to having to go into the system?
Yes, like I would say 90% of the time, or even higher, by the time it gets to CSUBUY, oftentimes this is artwork that we've created ourselves, and so that helps because we take care of those things before it gets handed off to the client. The exceptions are usually if it's a vendor that an online vendor maybe that we haven't used before. Sometimes campus units will again, these things our workflow is set up now to try to get those things shared with us before they get into CSUBUY. And so we are reviewing artwork sometimes several times before we're creating artwork, especially. So yes, oftentimes it's already vetted, it's already approved. One great example that I can say that was an exception, that artwork that we created that was approved and handed off to the client, when the client sent it to the vendor actually redesigned it on their end and modified our artwork. And had we not had the proof in CSUBUY, it would have been produced because the client, oftentimes clients, they're placing a lot of orders and they don't necessarily have the creative eye to see sometimes small changes that vendors sometimes will make. In this case, it would have been a disaster because they re-illustrated our mark. They rebuilt a logo essentially. And we were able to catch it at that stage and provide the correct artwork and actually provide that comment directly to the vendor so that it's documented. You need to use the approved artwork. Here's the artwork. Here's the file. So it's usually the exception. Most of what we have in here, the flow is very smooth. It's a matter of I approve most of these. Just take a look at it, approve it, move it down the line. And that's one of the great things about the tool, is that it's really helped streamline a lot of this stuff that used to come in from all sorts of different ways, emails, shoulder taps, phone calls. It really streamlined the process from that standpoint.
And if you guys have preferred vendors, or Tawny, you also for Humboldt, do you guys list that on your website of what who have been vetted, that is familiar with your guys's design and utilizing them, and then direct the campus? These are ones that are preferred that you should be using.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like generally, don't picture this system as a branding and logo system of approval. Like, this is just the final stop to ensure that people aren't sneaking things through. So whatever training and processes for end users that you had before, if you had it posted, if you didn't have it posted, all of that is the same. It's just this is making sure it's stopping and that all the approvals are sort of automated. So you're not having to send a separate email to Marcom to say, hey, do you approve this? It's just all kind of embedded in the system. But that being said, yes, you may have to request more information or train end users, things like that. There's really not a good way to get around that. But it is kind of the final stop and make sure nothing is sneaking by without getting that approval.
Exactly. Yeah. And our procurement team does curate a pretty big list of vendors that are approved and vetted
Perfect.
that we have good relationships with. And so they really encourage people to reach out early in the process to say, what is it you need? Because we've got a list of vendors to choose from, which also really helps. We rely on that a lot.
Thank you. That's it for chat, but if anybody wants to, raise your hand or speak up or put in more questions, then we can use Christian right now in his time while we've got him.
This may be our quickest one yet. So the plan is ideally in a week or two to get the compliance approvers into P2P to start testing. So you can see what the process looks like. You can start planning for that because this will replace your current approval processes.
Want to share your screen, Tawny, of the campus contacts in case they do have questions, and
yeah.
that can help guide them as well.
Yes. For some reason my current slide. Okay. Right, am I sharing?
Yes.
Okay. The little green thing didn't pop up around the screen, but these are your campus contacts for this project. If you have questions that we were not able to answer, or you have, something you want to take offline and you don't want to ask it here, you can find your campus and reach out to that email. But like I was saying, the plan is to get all of the compliance approvers into P2P within the next week or two, because we fully understand you have to rework your own current processes. You may need to update websites, get rid of forms, things like that. So that's the intent behind that. So you can work with your campus project team on that. We will be sending out an email, I don't know, I would say within the next week or two on organizing that piece. Anything else before we hop off? Okay, you were an easy bunch today. Thank you all for attending. And this will be recorded. So if you want to go back or you want to share with anybody else, it should go on your local campus CSUBUY P2P website. All right, thank you, everyone.